here to spread a message, a recollection of personal experiences, long-lasting life lesson, or a new discovery relevant to everyday lives. But I'm not here to spread another inspirational quote or thought-provoking belief. In fact, it's the opposite. I'm here because I want you to just give up. Now, before I get kicked off the stage, let's take a step back. Safe to say that we've all had our fair share of personal vendettas and embarrassing memories, but something that is imbued in every single one of us are the unforgettable experiences that come from moving on. Yet ironically, on a societal level, we use the stereotyped adage of never give up as a means to denounce and villainize each and every instance of quitting a commitment. And that's my concern. Whether it's blindly dismissing new information that astounds our beliefs, using the time it takes to persist in activity as the ultimate testimony to our skill, or holding on to a relationship because we believe time will resolve the issue, our mindless distaste for moving on has now become the main problem that we face today. So today, I want us to go on a journey, because every single instance of success, love, and learning you have heard throughout the passing of seasons is just half the story. I want to consider that other half as the passing of time continues and the end of seasons inevitably arise. But we ought to begin by understanding that our disdain for moving on strikes past a stubborn personality or a failing commitment. Take Benny Abrams, who was a sophomore at a prominent university and an avid lover of football. But after his first semester in college, his life was not the same. See, his passionate love of football transformed into the disease that was eating away his life. Injury after injury, day after day, he spent almost half of all his waking hours training. And training and training and training and training until his body couldn't take it anymore. On February 10th, 2010, Benny Abrams passed away mid-workout from extreme strenuous stress to the body. But it is because a latter decision between appearing tough enough to not take a single step back or suffering organ failure in the middle of a practice field is a decision that should never exist in our society. And yet Benny's story is just one of thousands. See, this occurs because we have a tendency to accept what we are exposed to. So when we are shown elaborate stories, determined heroes, and inspirational quotes from internationally renowned achievers, it's natural for us to listen, for us to inform, for us to act in accordance with. But that inattentive attitude is what leads us to accept without consideration. Because I ask you to consider. When renowned football coach Vince Lombardi told the world that winners never quit and quitters never win, was he actually acknowledging the fact that today almost 10% of all student athletes pass away from suicide? Pass away from overworking? Or was he simply looking at a blindly bright world? But it's not just the suffering of an individual that we should consider, but also the immense benefits that it can obstruct. Case in point, one of my most influential teachers, Ms. H, made the decision to withdraw herself from a mentally draining teaching opportunity. Of course, she loved her fellow students and her staff and even her career, but when her life was defined by stacks upon stacks of tests that she needed to grade, it was time to take a step back. And she defined that step as the best decision of her life. See, when we gain the ability to quit a stressful work environment, walk away from a failing relationship, and to move on from a past commitment, we are able to achieve success just the same. In fact, giving up is such a crucial factor in growth. And so in the same way in which we terminate our option to withdraw from an unsuccessful attempt, we terminate our potential to grow. Let's talk about myself, star of the show. I've experienced a similar agonizing situation. Back as a brief but extremely delayed self-introduction, I immigrated to the United States around 5 years ago. But the steps that led on to this moving involved my mother sacrificing the only family that she knew, her own language, and the culture to which she spent the last 36 years of her life to come with me to America. And I am so grateful. And so, I motivate myself to make her proud, to prove to her that her sacrifice was worth it. When the phrase that continues to surround society is the idea that winners never give up. How do I prove that her sacrifice was worth it when society has already labeled that as an impossibility? It's almost ironic how our lives, one of the most complex notions in the universe, can be slammed and restricted by a simple 3 words. Never give up. So how do we solve this problem? How do we know when to quit? Well, unfortunately, there is no unified formula for knowing when to give up. We can most certainly try to look past our innate arrogance and gaze at where the bad situations are located. Because it's obvious that none of us are perfect, so look past the rainbows and unicorns to see the truth. Where are you as of your goal? Do you truly think you can make it? Are the benefits even worth it? What do you give up when you don't give up? Dr. Seuss tells us that sometimes you will never know the true value of a moment until it becomes a memory. And so, I stand here today to urge you. The best life you could possibly live is one where you know and enjoy what you're fighting for. Thank you and good night.